Yeah, I'm happy to be alive. And if you've been a fan or a listener or viewer of the show, you'll notice that I am sitting down, and I'm sitting down for a reason today because I blew out the fuse. And my monitor and everything went out. So because I blew out the fuse and all my monitors are out, I am using my laptop, and standing up was just not going to work based on the height and the depth. So yeah, this is the first time I'm sitting down in a long time of 72 episodes of doing this live stream. So I'm bringing the energy still. We're excited about Thursday, and good morning, Evezer. Yeah, no doubt. Can you believe it's August? And if you're summer in Chicago, then you know how it is and how much we love the summer. So we have an awesome show for you today. I am super excited. We've got some great guests. We're talking about some cool stuff. Sid, thanks for hopping on. Appreciate you. And let's get this show rolling. All right. Our opening quote today is, your network is your net worth. And on that note, welcome to this episode of Live Beyond Default Livestream. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. My name is Dave. I am your host, and welcome to Chicagoland's most abundant live stream. I am so happy that you all are here today, whether you're watching live through YouTube or Facebook or Instagram, and of course LinkedIn, and you could catch the replay on all of those, plus Spotify and Apple Podcasts. It is a great week, midsummer in Chicagoland. I'm sure everybody's rocking and rolling. This week I went to the Green Day and Smashing Pumpkins show at Wrigley Field. Has anybody ever been to Wrigley? Has anybody been to Wrigley Field since they've redone it all, first of all? And has anybody ever been to Wrigley Field in Chicago for a concert? Well, let me share with you, it is a totally different experience when you go to a concert at Wrigley Field. So I think capacity is about 40,000, somewhere around there. It was a sold out show. And it was just an amazing time. So it was cool to see Green Day. It was cool to see the Pumpkins. And I'm fired up for today's show. So if your week has not been epic so far, ask yourself, why not? Why has it not been epic so far? Well, it's time to take responsibility. It's time to take responsibility for our thoughts and our words and our feelings and our actions, because of course we don't blame how we feel on anybody else. We don't blame it on politics, or we don't blame it on prices of gas, or our boss, or a significant other, or our kids, or anything else. We take full responsibility for where we are at, and that's what we do here on Live Beyond Default live stream. Okay, it's time for gratitude. Gratitude is the key to happiness, and we are all really, really blessed to be living in the safest, most abundant time in human history. Yes, I'm going to say that again. It's the safest, most abundant time in human history. And if you don't believe that, challenge me in the chat, because we're all about challenges here, and we're all about leveling up as a community. So throw something in the chat right now that you are grateful for. Today, I am grateful that it is raining in the Chicagoland area. Now, why would you say it's raining, Dave, and that's cool? Well, I'm saying it's raining because I like food, I like plants, I like water, and I like the tables to be high regarding water. Back in the day when I was a kid, it didn't rain very much. And over the summer, it would be super dry. Everything would be brown. And it was like you couldn't really, um, you couldn't really you couldn't water, you couldn't do anything like fun with sprinklers, or it just was very dry out here. And weather changes, and that's okay. And we don't need to get down that rabbit hole. Okay, somebody here says, gratitude on a rainy day like today. I'm grateful for clean sidewalks. Yes, see, clean sidewalks. That's so simple. Let's be grateful for clean sidewalks. Oh, I'm fired up already. I love when you throw comments in the chat, and I love that you're all watching and listening to Live Beyond Default live stream episode number 72. Yeah, so I'm grateful for the rain today. I'm also grateful that I had a lot of challenges this week. On the real estate side, on the personal side, and really just on the spiritual side, tests and tests, and so much was coming at me all week that I just didn't know at times how to handle it. So I always just grounded myself, took a chill, and just laid back and recognized that happiness comes from within me. It comes from the source, and I know how to tap in that. Michelle, thanks for joining us. Michelle says, I am grateful also for some rain, fueling our fruitful garden since it also works so hard. Yes, Michelle, you and Cody's garden. I love it. Thanks for sharing that. But also for planning vacations in the middle of piling for 2025. We all work so hard. Yes, we do all work so hard. And Michelle, thank you for sharing that. Love you. You are the best. All right. Who else has a share here? Ron, thanks for joining. Ron says, rainy, cloudy days are easier for me to focus on work rather than wanting to be outside with nature. Today will be a productive work day. Look at that. Ron, thanks, brother. I so appreciate you. I know I haven't gone rock climbing with you yet, and you've asked me numerous times, but something Ron says right there, he's taking a situation of rain and saying, how can I level myself up instead of, oh, it's raining? He says, yeah, it's going to be more productive because I'm not going to be wanting to go outside. So that's super, super cool. And yeah, I appreciate you sharing that. Michelle, that's okay for the typo. We go along with those today. So if you're just joining us right now, we're on Live Beyond Default live stream, episode number 72. It's your weekly dose of personal growth. We're on all the platforms live, of course, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. And you can watch the replay also on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. And today, we are beginning now with our topic. Our topic is network equity, because you know your network is your net worth. And yeah, we've got a couple guests coming on today. We've got Tony P and we have Greg DeKalb, and they're both with Tony P's Networking. If you've ever heard of that before and you've ever been to any of their events, they're epic. They are total go-givers, these guys. I see they're waiting. I'm going to click them on the screen in a moment. Thank you guys for being on time. Yeah, Tony P and Greg are just two amazing people. They have this amazing group, a networking group that they've been running for years. So what we're going to do is we're going to talk to them. We're going to find out what drives them. We're going to find out how they just keep giving and giving. We're going to learn more about their group and what they have coming up for us in store. So right now, I would like to welcome to Live Beyond Default live stream episode number 72. We have Tony P and Greg DeKalb.
Hey, what's up, Dave? How you doing, man?
What's going on?
Good, guys. Thank you so much for joining me. And this is different for me because I am used to like standing up and doing this show. But it's funny because I plugged in my new laptop to the wall outlet, and poof, it popped a circuit. So all my monitors went out and I can't use those. So today I am actually sitting down, but yeah, I appreciate you guys hopping on the show live. We have plenty of time. We're going to dive deep, not only into Tony P's networking events, but we're also going to talk a little bit and share with you guys, like, we want to know what drives you and where y'all came from and why you started this. And we have a lot of people on live already. We just have Rick Litton is on now saying hello. We've got Michelle, Ron, we've got Brandon, we've got Sid. So we've got a lot of people. And of course, we have Andrew. We got a lot of people on live right now. So why don't we start off with saying, like, tell us a little bit about Tony P's events and how you guys started it and what it's really all about.
Great. Well, here's the thing. Do you want the long version or short version?
Let's start with the short version because we're going to get into more as we go along. Thank you.
Cool. So we'll have Greg kick it off then. He's much better at being succinct than I am by far.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. And thank you so much, Dave, for having us on, and really appreciate the opportunity. And yeah, so Tony P's, wow. We started it, it's actually 7 years ago to the day was when we did our first event, 2017 at Rocket. And at the time, me and Tony, we were starting another company, Appointments IQ, which is outsourced business development. And to get new clients, we were going out to all the networking events and, meeting a lot of people and building our network. And we were just looking around and we were just, seeing the different events and realizing, okay, this is really awesome. We love the idea of people coming together. We love the energy. We love, sharing ideas and helping other people build. So we were just like, okay, well, maybe we should start our own events. And it took a little bit to get going. We planned it out pretty well and decided, we wanted to have a little bit of a different approach to it than, your typical, chamber event or organization. So we decided that, all right, what's happening at these awesome venues and, nightclubs and things like that and River North. And, apparently not a whole lot is happening on a weeknight, between 6 and 9. So they're like, hey, if you can bring in a group of people, we'd love to have you. So yeah, that led to one thing led to another, and we kicked off the events, and we brought a couple hundred people together that first event, and then we just got a bug for helping people and bringing people together. We just seen all the smiles and all the energy and all the great feedback, and yeah, we decided to go ahead and do it monthly, and then we realized, wow, we got all these different groups within the network, whether it be real estate, cannabis, IT. So we just started breaking off, doing different type of events, and here we are 7 years later, and we've done we're in fashion, art, cannabis, technology, real estate. We do all types of special events, and we're excited about it, and we're glad that we could be a part of the what we consider the Chicago fabric of networking.
Yeah, that's a great that's a great lead off. And so you guys were in this company, and I'm sure some of our listeners now or on the replay have been to one of your events. So if you have any feedback, share something in the chat about Tony P's networking events. Well, tell me a little bit about. So you guys both had this company that you were running. Did you start that company, Appointments IQ?
Yeah, so me and Tony, we got our whole career is in marketing and sales, right? So we were both doing the corporate thing, and it just became a point in time where it's like, all right, well, we realize these companies, they all need new clients, they all need meetings and prospects, and we devised a way to really streamline that process, stitching together some different softwares and getting access to some different databases and some best practices, etc. And we decided, okay, well, we like that small business owner, we like that entrepreneur, let's bring this enterprise solution and this data set to these individuals and help them out with their business development. So yeah, that was the thought process, and we put it together, and then that we packaged it, and that's Appointments IQ.
And how much of the networking events is we want to serve our clients and we want to serve the community and get them together, and how much of it was we're not really seeing a lot of networking events, and the ones that we've been to, we'd like to be better. So let's go start our own. And I asked that question because a lot of bands, I know Kiss back in the day said they became the band that they wanted to go see.
Mm-hmm.
Now, as part of what you're doing here, because you wanted to see a different type of networking event, or did you see it more as like a vehicle to serve your clients and to bring more value to your clients?
That's a great question, Dave. So I'll kind of answer that on both fronts. So as Greg alluded to, we're going to a lot of events. And
now, Tony, are you on a boat? Because you're rocking.
what? Oh, sorry. Just
are you on a boat?
No, I'm not on a boat. I got a little stand here.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry. I'll keep it stable.
That's okay. Go on.
Yeah. So basically, yeah, we were going to a lot of events. We were promoting other people's events, and then yeah, we thought, hey, we can probably add a little something to this. But then also we realized the more events we attended, the more events we hosted, the more business opportunities just kind of started falling into our laps. And the thing is that the way that me and Greg operate, we're all about helping others first, and then everything just kind of happens organically after that. But I think what we did that really made us different was we made networking fun, because think about a lot of events that you go to where it's just very just stale and vanilla ice cream. And I don't know, it's like you see the same people every time and the same conversations. And it just feels like you're like you're not moving much, like things are the same. So we decided to shake things up. That's why we put them in like clubs and bars and venues that are like, really hot and cool, or maybe ones that are new that need to be showcased or whatever. But the other thing too that we do that makes us very unique is we are very proactive in putting people together at the events. So it's not just show up, put on your name tag, and hope for the best. We do the opposite. What we do is we do our homework on everyone that attends the event before the event happens, and we proactively put people together in conversations where it makes sense, where people have common ground, whether they went to the same school, they got the same hobbies. If I know someone's looking for a job and I know another person with a company that they're hiring, I'll introduce them to each other. If I know someone is a roofer and they want to meet more real estate people, I'll put them together. So we are very intentional in how we host the events. We're very intentional in how we put people together. So it makes the events just so much more productive, as opposed to just, hey, let's just go and hang out and see what happens.
I really appreciate you sharing that. So that's something maybe that comes a little bit because you're systems guys, or in a way you've put systems together. But what I really love about that is not only did you want to up-level where these events were taking place and the experience, but you're being proactive. I mean, think about that. I think about some people I regularly see at your events, like Carolyn Litton or Alan Stern, and people that just get so much out of your events, but give so much at him too. You're being proactive. So what you're telling me is, before people will come to the event, you'll take a look at the guest list and you'll match people up accordingly based on what they're looking for, where they are at their business, what kind of business that they're in, and seeing who you can connect them with at the upcoming event. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, 100%. And that's the beauty of social media. So Greg and I are very, very active on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. So what we'll do is, before an event happens, we'll go through the attendee list and we'll look them up on LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and just see what makes someone tick, what they're got going on. So we're doing a lot of homework and research before the event even happens. And we're already mapping out how we want to get people connected before the event happens. So that when the event does take place, it's just a lot more productive for everybody. The other thing too is, when the event does start, I seek out the people that are by themselves. Either they're like intimidated, or they're bored, or they don't know anybody. and I'll introduce myself, and I'll say like, hey, what brought you out tonight? Where do you live? What kind of work do you do? What's your favorite restaurant? I'll ask them a whole bunch of questions, learn what makes them tick. And I'll think, okay, who in this room would be good for this person to meet? And I'll take them by the hand and introduce them to like 5-10 different people in the next several minutes. And then that way they have a much more enjoyable experience, So like I said, it's all about the experience. So let's make sure people are having fun, but they're also meeting high quality people that can help, grow their business and make new friends.
Yeah, I love that. Getting people together so they can meet high quality friends. And there's always one or two, or at your events, maybe 5 or 10, because you have hundreds of people at your events, to be able to recognize in the room who is standing there or who maybe feels, I don't want to say uncomfortable, but networking could be uncomfortable. Maybe they feel a little out of place. Maybe they feel a little overwhelmed. And you're seeking out these people in the room and walking up to them, kindly introducing yourself, asking them questions, not necessarily, so what do you do? You're asking them emotional questions that'll fire them up, and that'll get them talking, to open up and maybe share a little bit, and also kind of let the guard down. And once you see that they're starting to open up a little more, like you said, you guide them, you shepherd them, you take them by the hand, and you start introducing them to other people. That's what makes you guys, Tony and Greg, and your events one of the best. It's like, how people tick, and like you said, you're providing this experience. I just absolutely love that. Greg, can you add anything to that?
Yeah, I was just getting ready to say, yeah, Tony and I were just a couple of people, right? It really is. It's a team. So, I mean, over the years, we have probably 15, 20 brand ambassadors, right? People that come to all of our events and are familiar with everybody's, for the most part, backstory and that type of thing. So when we're up front, the minute someone comes into the door, it's kind of like, okay, is this one of our brand ambassadors, one of our regulars, or is this someone experiencing it for the first time? And we quickly identify that. And if it's someone for the first time, it's kind of like, all right, what brought you out? These different type of things. But then if one of us are not available to go off and make sure that they're getting comfortable and getting acclimated, that type of thing, we'll get them introduced to one of our brand ambassadors that kind of understand, okay, this person's new. Let's get them introduced to the friendlier people, and the people that are going to help them get opened up and these different type of things. So it's very strategic, and it is really about the moment that person arrives, making sure that they feel welcome. One of our sayings is everybody and their ideas are welcome. So yep. From the minute they start, that experience starts, because it's about them coming back. And that's how you build a community, is when people know, like, and trust each other.
And you both are building that community of people, like you said, that that you like, that you trust, and having those brand ambassadors. How important is that? I mean, it's like the teamwork makes the dream work.
Yeah, no, it's absolutely crucial. And it's tough to find, people that can stay, with us very, consistently, and convey the same type of welcomeness and, energy. Right. But yeah, it's imperative, because you get, an event, every one of them is different. They're all custom. The ones that you think are just going to be very smooth and turnkey, there could be major fires, oh, the speakers aren't working tonight. So now it's kind of like, okay, all right, great. How are we going to do announcements? And we've been here a million times, type of thing. So we get pulled in a lot of different directions, and we have to make decisions, right there on the spot, to keep the flow going, all the while, keep the ambiance and the energy of the event, uninterrupted, if you will, so the audience doesn't realize what's really happening, and making sure that the brand ambassadors are there to step up and take over registration, or get us set up for announcements and these different type of things. So they're a crucial part of things.
And there's nothing like being live it just reminds you how you said, you don't know what's going to happen. You don't know what mic is going to go out. My fellow speaker friends like Daphne Paris and, as I mentioned, Carolyn Litton and Scotty Tillema and Alan Stern and Tom, like, we all know about that too. Like, something's going to happen. It's not if something happens, it's going to happen. And for you to be able to, like you said, always be proactive and be able to shift or pivot or work with whatever's happening, that flow of the ocean, right? I like to call it the feminine flow. You don't know what's going to happen next. Boom, something happens, and you're still keeping the audience engaged, and you're still keeping that experience level high. And that's what it's all about. If you're just joining us right now, you're on Live Beyond Default live stream, episode number 72. We have Tony P and Greg DeKalb from Tony P's networking events, and we appreciate you being here live or watching the replay. So before we talk a little bit more about your events, I want to get to know a little bit more about Tony and Greg. Where'd you guys grow up? What were your aha moments as a kid? And did you have any like early on networking experiences or business experiences that you felt shaped you?
Yeah, I'll take this one first, Greg, and I'll keep this very short because this is something I can talk about for hours. But to give the Cliff Notes version, I'm the youngest of 5 kids, and my parents got divorced when I was young, like in the early 80s. And so I've always been, kind of an attention seeker, surprise. And so how I did that as a kid was through sports, through academics, and also just kind of being very talkative, but also being the youngest of 5 kids, and my oldest siblings are like 12 and 13 years older than me, so there's a bit of a gap there. I got socialized at a very young age because I would listen to my older siblings' music. I would hang out with all their friends. I'd play sports with all of them. So I kind of was wise beyond my years by a lot compared to most of my friends growing up, is because I had all these older siblings that kind of taught me a lot and introduced me to a lot of cool things. But like I said, especially music, And so I've always just been very extroverted and outgoing, but also being part of a large family, it's all about helping each other out and making sure you're thinking of others, not just yourself. So it's just one of those things where I just learned at a young age just how to talk to a wide variety of people, how to be confident, how to have fun, and just how to be social, And like I said, I can talk about this specific topic for a long time, but I'm just going to cut it off there and let Greg kind of tell his story. And then we can probably revisit this another time over some drinks.
Hey, thanks for sharing though, Tony. We appreciate you opening up and being vulnerable. We always want to know what's going on in people's lives, right? Like what happened in the past and what drives you, and maybe there were some challenges. So yeah, take it away, Greg. What was your childhood like, and what shaped Greg to be the guy he is today?
Yeah, no, I appreciate the question. So yeah, I grew up in small town Illinois, Central Illinois. And yeah, for me, I don't know. It was always just about bringing people together. I always enjoyed being around groups of people, going to events and going to parties, etc. And a funny story is for my 16th birthday. I know this one's going to get me in trouble. I don't share it too often, but at any rate, yeah, I threw a cake party at my house. It was interesting, got the parents to go away for a few hours, and we had 100 kids and had a huge cake party, and yeah, it was freaking awesome. And it was like one of those legendary high school parties, right? But yeah, ever since then it was, joining student council, being in charge of the entertainment board in college, and just everything. And all throughout my life was always just about bringing people together and getting that energy up and getting people collaborating and having a good time. It's just, I've always been about that. So, yeah. And so I've reflected quite a bit, why am I doing this today and why does it work? And, and it's always been with me.
Yeah. Yeah. That keg party brought me back to the days of Fremd High School in Palatine when I would go to keg parties for the first time and be looking around, like you said, hundreds of people, right? And my big question, I know the audience is wondering this too. Greg, what kind of beer did you serve that night?
Oh man, it had to be
Do you remember?
either Natty Light or Busch Light, whatever was cheapest.
Oh, I absolutely love it. Yeah, you both have some similarities about growing up, right? Maybe being in experiences or wanting to be part of experiences and bringing experiences to others. But I'm curious, Tony, what is it that works about Greg for you? And Greg, what is it that works about Tony for you? Where's the synergy and where's the polarity between you two and how you come together and what you bring to people?
Wow. Once again, this is a topic that I can talk about for hours because, I mean, I'll tell you right now that none of this would exist if it wasn't for Greg, because here's something about me and Greg that's very distinct that me and him know very, very well, but a lot of people don't know about us, is that I suffer from analysis paralysis on everything. So whenever I need to make a decision on anything, I always think about the what if scenarios, and sometimes I make a simple decision. It takes me a while, whereas Greg is the Nike just do it guy, so I'll think about something and analyze the hell out of it before we do something or before I make a decision. Greg's like, hey, let's just go on and do it, and if we make a mistake or we screw up, then we'll try again, we'll fix it, So I think we kind of counterbalance each other well that way. But the thing is that if it wasn't for Greg, none of this would exist, because it took several months of me like thinking about doing events and doing all this stuff, and Greg was hounding me for months to like just get it done. And I finally said, okay, let's do it. And our first event was a huge success. And I'm thinking like, damn, we should have done this a long time ago, So that's just one of many, many examples of how Greg has been just a major driving force in all the success that we've had. But I think the other thing too is that, I hate to admit this, but I do got a bit of a hot temper. And that's part of why I need to go to the gym multiple times a week to kind of take care of like stress and anxiety. That's where I release it. And Greg's just a much more cooler head. So if I ever do kind of go off the rails on something, Greg's really cool at getting me like centered and grounded and kind of get back on track, So, yeah. So once again, this is a topic I can spend hours on, but I think me and Greg play off each other very well. We have a lot of similarities, but then our differences and our strengths and weaknesses counterbalance each other very, very well.
I love that. And Greg, what is it about this hot-headed, bald-headed guy that you're dealing with?
Okay.
What's going on here?
You never know it unless you've been in like one of those 2 or 3 situations where I've actually, witnessed it and what have you. I mean, Tony is the nicest, most genuine guy I have ever met in my life. And the minute you're around him, you can just feel the energy and you feel comfortable, and I think that's I think that goes well whenever you're in a room. You can just sense that he's there and that okay, I got somebody to go and talk to that I know and that type of thing. But in terms of like getting going, yeah, if it wouldn't have worked if I was with anybody else, because the minute I had the idea of doing our own events, I would have, in a couple of weeks, I would have gone out and done it. you know, and we would have had 10 people and it would have been, okay, cool, we're hanging out. And it's like, okay, that's the end of it. But it's because it's, you know, I kept on, let's do it, let's do it, let's do it. And Tony kept saying, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? And then I would go back and I'd have to rethink things. And, you know, the vision just kept expanding and expanding and expanding. That's why I said, you know, it took a while to get it going, but it's because we took our time and really thought through, you know, all the different scenarios that you could possibly think through to make sure that it was a success. And then whenever we had that first event 7 years ago today, it was a huge success, and there was a good energy, and, you know, it was lightning in a bottle for us. And that's, you know, just every month, you know, we kept it going and we kept on improving it. But it was just like taking what we built and just continuously challenging it and figuring out, okay, how do we improve it? What's the good, bad, and ugly of it, you know, and how do we make it better? And I think that's why we're able to make it to where we are today, essentially. But again, none of that would have been the case if I would have just dived in and just said, okay, we're doing an event, you know, a week later, okay, here we are, you know, and it would have been just one of those things. So yeah, I think that's why it works. And, you know, I think that's why we've been able to have longevity.
The teamwork story is amazing, and I appreciate you both really sharing and diving deep into both yourselves personally, because I always do this, right? It's a polarity. It's a plus and a minus. It's a masculine and a feminine. It's a yin and a yang. And without polarity, it doesn't work. So you both being different in a way is what exemplifies the strengths of the other people, because you know that you both have challenges or areas that you're not so good in, and the other person has the areas that they're so good in. So based on your strong foundation, and 7 years ago when you had that first event, bring me back to that first event and share with me a little bit about, or share with us, not me, a little bit about what it felt like, what you saw, and then a little bit of a progression, like kind of go through those 7 years. But I want to hear something that stood out in that first event.
Yeah, I'll keep this really brief because once again, this is something I can talk about forever. But I think it was just that nervous energy, because the thing is that Greg and I have been attending a lot of events, and we've been promoting other people's events for quite some time. So we built up a pretty nice following before we did our first ever event. So we were confident that we're going to get a pretty decent amount of people to show up. But the thing is that we were thinking, okay, hopefully like 50, 70 people show up, and like 200 showed up, you know? And the other thing too is that it's like people just had a lot of fun, you know? It's like, you know, what I'm going to do too is in the chat here, I'll actually drop a YouTube link, which is a video montage of our first ever event. And just watching the video, you can feel the energy of the crowd, you know, because with networking, like I said, it's not just meeting people, exchanging business cards, and maybe or maybe not calling each other. It's about having that human connection, and that's why we focus on the first thing with any events. We want people to have fun. We want people smiling, laughing, having a good time, and the connections, the conversations, the business element, that'll follow organically, you know. But if people are having a good time and enjoying themselves and making new friends and genuinely connecting with other human beings, everything else just kind of falls into place the way it should.
Yeah, it does. And that's so important with getting to know people first and figuring out what we're going to create and what kind of business and abundance we're going to do later on. But without that initial, it's fun with purpose is what I like to say. We're having fun with purpose. We're not having fun just for the sake of having fun. Yeah, we all want to blow off some steam. At the same time, like, what can we do to progress and move forward? So how have you all progressed and moved forward since that first event 7 years ago? Where have you up leveled? And what do you think the challenges are that are upcoming, especially in this world that um, is so ephemeral, right? Like everything is boxed up in 30, 60, or 90 seconds. You go to a live event and it's almost like people don't even react to a live event. Let's say if somebody's on a trapeze or somebody is snowboarding or doing something that's like super cool that we'd never be able to do. But because we've seen it on YouTube or we've seen these videos so many times, it's like sensory deprivation. We don't even see or experience things like we used to. So, beginning from 7 years ago, what have you done along the way to stay relevant, to stay on people's minds, and to keep providing the experience that we all want, especially now we're so multi-generational?
Yeah, I'd say one of the main keys is just really being a champion of everybody else that's getting involved with bringing people together. Like, we both have served on nonprofit boards. We're both, we're the first ones to help promote other people's events. We put other people's events on our newsletter, etc. But just kind of going back to the evolution of Tony P's and how we've grown, right? So when we started doing the events, we realized, okay, we have factions of real estate people. Okay, let's start doing events for them. Technology people, let's start doing events for them. When cannabis became legal, it's kind of like, all right, that's going to be $1 billion industry here in Chicagoland. Let's start getting those people together. When COVID hit, instead of licking our wounds and crying about everything, we said, okay, well, what's our true mission here? It's to bring people together. And that ended up being an opportunity because we did the virtual events, and that brought the brand worldwide. So people calling in from Thailand and Brazil and all over the world. It was nuts. So coming out of that, we really looked at our portfolio of events: business, cannabis, real estate, technology. And it's like, okay, what's missing in this mix? And it's like, okay, what about the creatives and the fashion folks? So that's when we started doing fashion shows. We rounded out the audience, so we have something for everybody. And then it's kind of like, okay, there's a core group of people that are consistently coming out to everything because they just want to meet people, regardless of what it is that they do. They just want to be out. So we created that membership, that membership base, and started getting our business partners involved to give those members rewards for coming out and these different type of things. And really that's how we've grown. It's just continuously trying to figure out, okay, what does the market need? What are people, what are the challenges, and trying to deliver against that. And you're absolutely right. Being desensitized and, the different things out there, the different challenges. We all know and love Chicago, but it does have its challenges, etc. But we always say, hey, our number one competition, it's not somebody else that's having events. We promote other people's events. It's the couch. It's the person that is sitting there and they're on the couch. You're like, okay, I know I need to go out and network. I know I need to build my brand. I need to get my products and services out. I need to collaborate, but oh my gosh, the show, Netflix is calling my name, that's our competition, that moment right there when that person's trying to decide whether or not they're going to get up and show up and go through with it, or if they're going to be, sit this one out. And I'll tell everybody, same thing. It's I've never once gone to anybody's networking event, and then walked out, thought to myself, okay, that was, I wish I would have stayed home and sat on the couch tonight. I've never felt that way once. Now going into it, it's like, no, I don't know if I have it tonight,
Yeah.
But when you get there and you get that energy and you realize that you're doing something productive and you're helping other people's night out too, you being there, it's not just about you, it's about other people's experience, right? you walk out of there, you feel, fulfilled and everything else. And it always works out.
Yeah, I love that. And the biggest competition is the couch. Like, that's the quote of the week, right? Think about that. The biggest competition is the couch. And like you said, Greg, think about it. How many times after you've worked out, how many times after you've gone to yoga, how many times after you've gone to a networking event, how many times after you've read 10 pages in a book or taken a half-hour walk afterwards that you've been disappointed? Probably next to none.
Right.
And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, we know this is good for us. Networking is like building a muscle. Think about the word networking. The word at the end or the second half is working, right? It's not net partying. It's not net wallflowering. It's networking. Like, it takes work. It takes time, and it takes focus and energy. And with that, most people are showing up wanting to give. They're wanting to bring the joy everywhere they go. What I say is, when you walk into a networking event, imagine the doorway. And when you walk in, picture that as a frame. And right when you walk through it, somebody takes a picture of you. And that picture is going to be in front of people. How do you want to look? How do you want to project yourself? And how do you want other people to feel when you're walking through that door? So I always say, put your shoulders back, put your chin up, smile. And when you walk through that door, imagine that snapshot's being taken. Now you're coming in with the energy. People are going to feel you, and you're bringing the joy, and you're adding value to other people's groups. Now, on the other hand, we've all had those energy-sucking vampires at these networking events. You knew I was going to ask this question. Now, come on. We always have those energy-sucking vampires that come up. Maybe they're seasoned, or maybe it's just their first time. We're going to give them a break either way. But think about that. Like, they're pushing the card on you. They want your card, and you just know they're not coming from the best place. What do you do about those people when you see them?
That's so funny you asked that.
Of course it is.
Because, there's something that we do encounter at every event. And you know what it is in those situations, that's where I kind of flip the script and I just ask a lot of questions about, what someone's working on, what they're motivated by, who they want to meet. And I just find a way to turn a negative into a positive, and just figure out what's this person's motivation. How can I help them? And just kind of, what's the word I'm trying to say? Just try to just flip the script on it and just make it where it's less about, someone being all aggressive or being, self-serving, and me just kind of saying, hey, how can I help you? Or who would you like to meet? But the other thing too, though, is, there are some people that, not going to lie, we've had to kind of pull off to the side and kind of give them a little coaching, and stuff. And I always do that in a very nice, professional way. I don't want to, put someone down or make someone feel, bad or anything. Because you get some people, especially people who might be a little younger and green, who just don't know how it goes, So it's kind of a case by case basis. But at the end of the day, it's all about just making sure that people are being professional and courteous, and we just steer them in the right direction.
So is it usually the hot-headed bald guy that goes up to these people?
You know what? It depends. I mean, it depends if it happens in my line of sight or Greg's, but yeah, it just case by case basis. But yeah, I'd say it really just depends on where it's at the event and who it is and whether it's Greg or I is closer to it. But also too, in some scenarios, I'm the better one to handle it. In some scenarios, Greg's the better one to handle it, because once again, we do have similar yet different personalities. So we just make sure that however it's handled professionally and courteously, and without any kind of scene being caused.
Yeah, Greg, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I would just say, it really doesn't happen too often, where we have to, ask someone to politely, leave or to simmer down or something along those lines. It has happened occasionally. And for those people that are just, self-serving, and you just recognize, okay, is this person, is this just part of their personality, or is this because they're kind of new to this, or what the case may be, and then and approach it the right way. But then, yeah, there's a whole master class around politely exiting conversations. It's time to get a new drink, I got to use the restroom. You just got to recognize those situations, because here's the thing that I want to impress upon people is, like, your time is extremely valuable. You're investing your money and your time to be at these events. And if you're too polite, and, obviously be polite, be courteous, right? But if someone is just yapping your ear off, over something that's just, they had their chance, and it's like, look, this isn't why I'm here. There's not a business opportunity or something along those lines. You gotta step up and exit that conversation, because there's other people out there that you are there to meet, etc. So I always tell people that, after 5 minutes of chatting with somebody, make sure that you meet everybody that's in the room that's possible, because if you spend 15-20 minutes with the same person, and it's really not a conversation that's going to be uber beneficial, or it's too personal or something along those lines, that's time taken away, that you could be spending, elevating with somebody else, right? So you got to take a little bit of onus, and you got to step up for yourself, because your time is very valuable, and you're coming there with the purpose of meeting new people to build your business, or to build your brand, or whatever the case may be. So you can't be overly polite just because.
Yeah, I love that. You gave us some great networking 201 advice right there.
Yeah.
And
So if I ever say, excuse me, I got to get a drink, that means that probably is a cue. Oh man, he thinks I'm boring or something.
Well, you're right, though. It's time, it's focus and energy, and it's finite. So you're at these events, you want to meet people, and you want to do a one-to-one after and learn a little bit more about each other. Awesome. At the same time, we all tend to, at times, because we're humans, we tend to also gravitate who we're comfortable to. Think of how many networking events that we go to, and we're all hanging around with the same people. I like to sometimes tease people when I'm at events, and if I know that they work together, I'll walk up and say, "Oh, it's cool to see you guys together." Yeah, you probably haven't seen each other for what, like weeks, right? When it's like, I knew they were together earlier in the day. It's like, come on, let's go talk to other people, right? There's someone over there that kind of feels uncomfortable, or, hey, who's this person, right? You never know. And also, we like to think about, we always want to go towards people that are in the industry, or that we think we should be working with. Oh, Dave's in real estate, so let's introduce him to put the list of 10 together, right? When necessarily it's like, is that necessarily the right introduction for me? Because I want to get to know somebody, and then maybe I have an opportunity to create a business with them, and they might be somewhere not even close to what real estate is doing, but we still might have the opportunity. And I know that you guys know how to put that together and how to make those connections. And speaking of putting that together, I know you have some upcoming events, and a lot of them, but I want to know a little bit. I want all of us to know a little bit of an overview of how many events you have a month, what upcoming events you do have. And then, of course, when we start posting clips from this live stream, I'll put in there your upcoming events in the clips, so people go to those events and register. So what do you have upcoming? How many events do you normally do a month? And tell us what's going on.
Hey, Greg, I'll let you take that one, and I'm going to drop the link in the chat.
Okay. No, great. So typically at a given month, we're having 3 to 4 events.
3 to 4 events a
So
month. Okay.
yep, and we try to follow a cadence every month. So the first Thursday of every month, to the best of our abilities, generally our business networking event. The second week of the month, we're generally having a virtual networking event. The third week of the month, we're rotating amongst like a cannabis, a real estate, a technology event, and then the last week of the month, we're probably doing something social, whether it be like a Halloween party, a boat party, New Year's Eve, something along those lines. But yeah, so every week we try to do something. What's coming up is tonight we have our 7-year anniversary event here, so super excited about that. And then the following week we're going to be out in the Schaumburg area, so getting out to the suburbs has been one of our core initiatives over the last couple of years, so we're doing a lot more of that. Let's see here, the first Thursday of September, we got a really new awesome venue that we're going to be working with. What is it called? The Farm, Tony?
Yeah, welcome to the farm.
Welcome to the Farm. So yeah, it used to be Fremont, so it's rebranded. Beautiful venue. So very excited about helping them getting launched and getting some traffic there. The second week of September we'll be in Naperville. So yeah, it just keeps going every week. But the best place to keep up with everything, we have a rolling calendar, probably 6 events out at any given time on our website, TonyP'sNetworkingEvents.com. Go to the events page, and yeah, you'll see, call it our next 6 or 7 events coming up.
Yeah, and just to add to that, next Thursday, August 22nd in Schaumburg, we got a pretty awesome keynote speaker for that event too.
Yeah, we do.
Who is that, Greg?
I don't know. I think he might be wearing some yellow glasses there, right?
Yeah. So
I'm grateful to be speaking next week, you guys.
Yeah, we're honored to have you.
Yeah. So shameless plug. Yeah, our very own Dave Lasavio is going to be the keynote speaker at the event next week in Schaumburg. So Dave is a very incredible guy. Every time I talk to him, I learn like 10 new things. So excited to hear what he has to share with us next week.
Yeah, and it's going to be at Induspad Braveheart.
Mm-hmm.
They're right off of Golf Road and Route 53. Yeah, it's a great venue, and we're excited to be. I'm excited to be there. I love that you guys are coming out to the burbs at times too. You're going to Naperville. That's super cool. Mm-hmm. Naperville's a rockin' suburb, right? And it's cool to see you all expanding. So before we go, yeah, let's end it off with a couple closing thoughts from you all. How about we do this? What's your, both of you, 1 year from now when we're sitting together and we're raising a drink? I'm going to raise a club soda and I'm going to buy you whatever drinks you want. When we're all sitting together 1 year from now, what are you both celebrating? And it can't be your 8th year. It has to be something else. No, that's too easy. So what are we celebrating 1 year from now?
Wow, that's a really good question. I'd say a couple things we're celebrating is definitely the expansion of our community, that it'll be even larger and more awesome a year from now. And the other thing too that Greg and I have been toying with for quite some time, but we've had different, roadblocks, is we've been talking about, doing, more events outside the Chicago area. So like Greg's got, family down in the Tampa, St. Pete area. We've done an event in Houston in the past. We got a large network in Vegas and a large network in Miami. We got a large network in Nashville. So I definitely want to make sure that a year from now we're celebrating the fact that we've done a couple of, awesome events outside the Chicago area and celebrate that as well.
Love
Yeah,
that.
no,
What about you, Greg?
yeah, no, I would actually, I would piggyback. Is whenever we started, having the 7 years that we have, I mean, people have come and gone out of Chicago, and they've gone to other markets, and we've heard that feedback. Hey, we need something like this, in our area, in our market, and then whenever we did the virtual, it gave an opportunity for people outside of the Chicagoland area to start chiming in. So yeah, I would say what I'd like to be celebrating is a consistent schedule of going out to other cities and showing them the magic of networking that's here in Chicago. Because my experience has been, it's just not as it's for whatever reason, it really works well in Chicago. It's not everywhere, but it should be. And I think that's something that we'd like to bring to people is bring to other cities is what we've created here.
I absolutely love that idea. And I know other cities will be grateful for that too. Sid says he's looking forward to your next event. Natalie says, love listening to successful networkers. It's definitely an art to build relationships through events. And lastly, Brandon says, great job, Greg and Tony. Let's make it 37 more years. Well, thank you both for being a part of Live Beyond Default live stream, episode number 72. As I like to say, it's Chicagoland's most abundant live stream. And you two are just all about Chicago. You're all about creating a space for people to grow, collaborate, and you're just really bringing value and joy to everybody. And I want to thank you all for the time and the effort that you take. And so much giving. It takes a lot of energy to do what you do. It takes a lot of energy just to get off the damn couch. And you're doing it all the time. So we like to close the show with the same quote every single time. And that is from Gabby Vargas. And she said, okay, once we're done with this live stream, or once you're done listening, take out your phone and text somebody, I'm thinking of you. And on that note, thank you all for listening. And until next time, make it a great week. Thank you, everyone.
Awesome, Dave. Dave, you're amazing. Thank you so very, very much for this opportunity. Super excited to see you next Thursday and showcase you and your amazing gift of your knowledge and your friendship. And anything you ever need from me and Greg, we're 24/7 for you, brother.
Thank you so much. We'll see y'all next time.
Okay, take care. Have a good one.